So we filmed it on the airstrip.
Holy
and
shit,
that was just a blessing because we hit them up and they're like, yeah, hell yeah, come through. They're like, the funniest thing, they were just like, if you see a plane, get out of there. They're like, if you see a plane coming, get out of there. And we're like, all right, cool.
God. This is the Unmastered Podcast.
All right, we are back. Unmastered Podcast.
Welcome back.
We had some great episodes flowing through here, and as you guys see, we've been pulling up a lot of guests, so we have another guest for us today. So for today's episode, our guest is an up-and-coming musical artist. He has more than 30 songs on streaming platforms, including his album Tales of a Lost Heart. His local hit song Party With Us immense to more than 70,000 plays on Spotify alone. At a young age, he's already done live performances and has released his music under rapper BBNO record label, The No Records. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hadi.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's up, Hadi? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I've just been like, just chilling, working.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's good to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yep. I've known you for what?
So it's been over a year.
It's been a while now. Damn.
Yeah.
I think COVID and stuff when the first hit is when I kind of
Yeah.
But you can just I just gave you a little introduction, but you can let the people know what you do, just your hobbies, stuff like that, who you are.
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah. Well, my name is Hadi. I'm 17. I was about to say 18. It's crazy. I'm 17. I'm an artist. I'm kind of dabbling into like random industries at the moment, but mainly music, mainly recording. Yeah. It's basically
Cool, dude. Cool. I see you've been working on a book.
Yeah.
Kind of want to hear a little bit about that. What's going on with that?
Yeah. I mean, so I got into writing recently. And then I ended up dropping a course and then taking writer's craft.
Oh.
And like my teacher has just been amazing. So a part of like my final project, I wrote a chapter of a book and I'm like, damn, I'm like really liking this. So I just kept writing it. It's sick. It's a cool way to get like your thoughts down on paper, right?
That's cool, dude. What's the book called?
It's called Bob.
Bob.
It's called B.O.B. Yeah.
B.O.B.
Yeah.
Wow, like the guy Airplanes Bob, like like shooting stars.
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's pretty cool. I mean, I like writing right now because it's like when I first started making music, like I liked making music, but I loved like releasing music like a lot. Like just getting that release day was crazy. Then I mean, as time went on, I started liking like making music more than releasing. And like now I just despise releasing music just because it's like,
oh no.
Like my last song, I dropped it and I got like 50 views. And I'm like, I'm not bummed by it, but I'm like, I had so much fun making the music, right? But now it's like something that I can finally be hyped to drop about again and be like, yo, like this is coming out, right? It's cool.
And that is dope.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you have to write a book or just like a little segment of a book for the writer's craft?
So our final like portfolio, whatever, it was like either a short story or like a chapter of a book or like a bunch of poems or whatever. And I'm just like, I was just sitting there one day and like random thoughts came to my head and I'm like, all right, cool, let's write it down. And then, yeah.
So you're taking that now and then you're gonna actually write it like even longer.
Yeah. I have like 3 or 4 chapters done at the moment, but yeah,
No, that's pretty good. Like writer's craft, I took that class as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that class was fun actually. Like I didn't think I would have fun in writer's craft, but like even doing poetry, like I thought that was really like fun to do. It was like almost like making like rhymes, right?
Music, yeah, rhymes.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely also something that you can use as an artist too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's gonna help anything you do.
I wish I took that course. I remember I could have taken it and I was like, nah, let me take the philosophy course.
I took both.
Yeah, you took both. There you go.
Both, bro.
I feel like that helps a little bit. You know, I got the philosophy side of things. You got the writer's craft. We got a guy writing the book, and we got Julian over here, and it's good, dude.
Which classes you take?
Which classes are you taking? But that's cool. That's cool. So you've been working on a lot of stuff. You're very, I would say like entrepreneurial, or I would say maybe like a jack of all trades in a way. Like you do a lot of different things, and you're always like trying and experimenting.
Yeah.
yeah, like what do you say is like your favorite thing to do out of all those things you do?
I mean, I'd say it has to be music. Like ever since I started making music, I just fell in love with it. But I mean, realistically, the reason I started getting into other stuff and like broadening what I can do is because like every single entertainment industry is so like there's just so much competition.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you have a foot in every like pond, that's a phrase now. If you have a foot in every pond, like you're destined to make it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I like
it's
that
cool.
a lot. If you have a foot in every pond, you're destined to make it.
There it is.
There you go. Quote from Unmastered podcast.
Every pond.
Heard it here first.
There you go. That's awesome, dude. Cool.
So, but you did say that you're trying like more things now, different. So what are you trying out?
So like I would say like different styles of music itself. My teacher's trying to get me into script writing. I
Okay.
kind of like it. I'm better at like cinematic writing or like writing for in like a book context. But no, like film writing and films would be amazing, but it's tough.
It's more technical.
Yeah.
It's less. You're not speaking with descriptive words a lot of the time, right? It's more what you see, because then they have to translate that into a film. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole different thing than writing a book.
Yeah.
And you were talking about like you're like experimenting with different genres of music. Like, what would you say is your favorite like to make music, or what would you say like maybe you'd say your music is like? What kind of music do you make, like stuff like that?
I make like hip hop mostly, but I like throwing random like bits of different genres in. Like the album that I dropped recently, like half of it was like hip hop, half of it was like rap, and then half of it was like sad slow songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of like just like putting out a bunch of stuff, and then whatever people connect with, they connect with, right? And that's why like you'll have like soft like rock songs as well. And I'm kind of just like throwing whatever out at this point.
Yeah, when you released that album, we were actually all together, I believe, that night, and we actually listened to it in this room on the speaker. And like, we were saying like how I remember the first half. It was kind of like it was like you split it to like two sides that were different type of genres, which was pretty cool. We liked it, and you produced
A couple
songs
tracks,
on that,
produced on there. It was definitely really cool to be a part of that project.
Yeah.
I thought those are my favorite songs. I don't want to be like that guy saying that those are my favorite songs of the project, but I thought a lot of the songs were cool. You brought a lot of cool topics to the table, and it showed your versatility for sure. You know, it showed that you weren't just like a rapidy rapper or like a trap rapper. You could sing, you know, you could do stuff on guitar beats.
Yeah.
I thought it showed a lot of versatility, and it's definitely like pretty cool that you dropped that, you know, because a lot of people are just dropping like singles these days, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what possessed you to do the album?
When I started making music, I guess, like I started with covering songs and like just like singing covers, and it was horrible.
Just like Aiden.
Yeah, like I have what is it called? Like All of Me by John Lennon.
Okay.
I did that like so long ago, and it's just been it was horrible, but I'm like, you know what? We'll just keep building off of it. And then singing has always been something that I've been like, oh, I kind of enjoy it, but don't do it enough. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember the original question. If you want.
Oh no. I was gonna say like you got kind of into like what made you get started into making music. Is that what you were just talking about?
Yeah.
I was asking like what possessed you to drop the album? Like what inspired you? Like what made you like drop Tales of a Lost Heart?
Tales of a Lost Heart was kind of like a collection. I don't even know. If you want me to be completely honest, like my creative process is so strange. I have random ideas that I put together, and then when I was picking out songs for the album, I just picked out whatever songs were of the similar genre and put it in, and then completely flipped it, and whatever was of like another genre, I put it in its own section. But it's like I don't know. My creative process is just all over the place.
It's cool. I heard Rick Rubin once say that sometimes you just got to make a bunch of stuff, and then some of it will just all fit into like a category.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like its own thing.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah,
even
yeah.
you like knowing. It's
Yeah.
just like you've made a bunch of stuff for fun over the years, you know, and eventually it's like, oh shit, it's starting to take shape, and then
Yeah.
it becomes like a project, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it sounds pretty similar in what you kind of experience, like we're just describing with your album. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So when you were preparing for the album, did you like know that you were gonna make an album, or did it just happen? Like he's saying, like you made a bunch of songs and like you're like, this could be an album.
I made like 10 songs, and then I was like, whoa, this could like this is starting to sound good, and I'm like, I could just put it into an album and go from there. But initially, no, I was kind of just making songs here and there.
Cool, dude. Very cool. So I know you've released songs under BBNO Money's record label. Can you explain like your relationship with him? Like, how do you know him? How do you meet him? Or how do you get this kind of placement through him?
So the first time I really learned about him, besides like the whole La 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 like song and situation, I saw him on the Misfits podcast.
Oh, really?
And I was like, hey, he's pretty cool. Let me check him out. I saw La La La, did a remix to it, and then went to his following and sent it to every single person that he followed. And one of the people that he followed that got back to me was one of his best friends.
Who is the best friend?
His name is David, and they have like their whole like they work together on the label.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let me see if I can do something. And I'm like, all right, cool. Send it to him. I was like so bummed out because I'm like, all right, this guy's not gonna reply. But a week later, he sends a screenshot of Baby being like, yo, like this is sick. And I'm like, yo,
Wow, dude.
like is this
That's
crazy?
fire.
Yeah.
It's so sick, and that kind of relates back. We were talking about like the whole Gary Vee thing, like what he says, like reach out to all these people, like, and that's very smart of you to do that.
Yeah.
Like when I was like whatever, we did a little experience thing. We were trying to make clothing. Remember that? Like my biggest like inspiration or guy I follow a lot is Jake Paul. So I actually went to like some of his best friends that I knew that had Instagram accounts and followed them and like less of a following. So like, and I was DMing them like, yo, do you guys want merchandise, whatever? And like one of the guys actually lived with Jake, and he was like, yeah, sure. And then I was like, oh, what's the address that I send this to? And it ended up being the Team 10 house. It was like, holy shit, like Jake's in the scene of merch and shit. And then he was like, oh yeah, I showed the guys, they all said it's dope and stuff. And then I actually saw a picture of him like on a plane, like with his videographer and Jake, and like they were actually, he was wearing the shirt next to Jake. I was like, that's so fucking dope. So yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
See? So it's like, it's pretty cool like that. So if you ever want to reach out to, you know, a role model or something you have, it's a smart thing to do, I'd say, is, you know, look at the people they're following, their closest friends, you know, reach out to them, be like, yo, da-da-da-da-da, and you can land a placement or, you know, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
For sure, dude. It's only one message away a lot of times, you know?
Exactly.
This
You never know who
podcast,
too, right?
Yeah, you really never know. You could literally DM like Drake and all the OVO people. Next thing you know, like one of them's like, yo, come play basketball at the court.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
The social media and everything, it's the new way to just get in contact with people
Yeah.
and everything. Like if you didn't do that,
Yeah, what if,
you-
yeah, exactly.
what would happen?
Well,
Nothing.
rewind like 20 years. You never had that opportunity. Like, let's say who's like a big star in 20 years ago, like Justin Timberlake or something. I don't know. Would you be able to just go like DM him, like, yo, check out my song? Justin
No, it's
Timberlake?
all you gotta like email his manager or like send letters, but like
And how
that's
do you even
not-
find the manager's email?
No,
How do you
no.
do all that shit?
No,
It's
yeah,
probably
It's a
way
whole-
harder. Now it's almost like you have like a direct avenue to all the people you want to work with.
Yeah.
There's kind of no excuse for you to at least not work with someone at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be the top person in your industry, but it could be like person A, B, C. I mean, person, you know, B tier, C tier, kind of like celebrities that are in your tier, that are in your industry. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be the top guy, but or girl.
Yeah, or you connect with someone who's under them, right? That knows them, right? That's connected with them, and eventually you could work your way up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I really think it's good to work laterally first, like to work with people on your level. You know,
For
on this
sure.
podcast, I feel like we're all pretty much on the same level, and that's why we make content together. We cultivate the people we know. You know, we make content, and then, you know, someone maybe who's at a higher level recognizes that content, thinks, oh, that's quality shit, I want to be a part of that, right?
Yeah.
They join in, and now you level up, right? Like, and you become friends with that person too, right? And you overall just grow. You keep growing as you make more content and as you know, work together with your team. But yeah, I think it's definitely interesting, like working with the people on your level. You get to get a certain type of thing.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
because everyone's working towards the same goal, you know, and hopefully that not everyone is like backstabbing each other or like whatever, you're gonna have those people who are a little bit jealous or whatever, and like, no, I don't want to work with you. Like, what are you doing? You know? But if you all work together, you're all working towards the same goal. One person's bound to get somewhere, right? And then hopefully, you know, if you were nice to them, you respect each other, you're all gonna pull each other up. Right, you're all gonna eventually get to the same place if you work hard, stay consistent with each other, respect each other, and help each other out. Right,
Totally agree.
that's like what this all is, and it's networking too, right? So it all relates to that too, right? That's it.
Yeah. We always talk about, like, we always like to look at like people we know, let's say, that make music, like even locally or just guys that are not big enough. And we always say like knowing you, like we always say it seems like you have that like drive, and like you're just very like good at like what you do, like making music. Like, yeah, I love the shit. So we always say like if there's one person we know that like would kind of be able to do it, we always say like,
Yeah, we always say
Hadi's, like, one of those guys.
you or Skira, like
Yeah.
we always look at you guys and we're like, yeah, you guys have the skill, you know, and you have the work ethic, and you're constantly working at your craft and honing it. I think like it's just a matter of time. Like, you guys everyone's so young here, like, you know, within 10 years, like probably like at least 20% of us will be doing something, you know. As long as we stay at it. But yeah, we definitely see the potential in you, Hadi, for sure.
Thank
like
you.
we hear your music and we're like, I always show it to my buddies,
Yeah.
and they're like, dude, this guy sounds like a legit ass like rapper that you would hear, you know, like on the radio or something, or on a Spotify playlist, right?
Yeah. And I remember like messaging you, and I'm like, it just takes one of us to get big.
Yeah.
Like as soon as one of us gets that recognition, that's it. Like all of
really?
us are up, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like that's why it's so important to have this tight community with everybody, because it's like literally as soon as one person's up, that's it. That's just how it works. Like every generation of music is how it's been.
For sure.
I honestly think like the COVID pandemic kind of like happened for some sort of a reason. Sometimes I think, because like I don't think we'd be sitting here without the COVID pandemic.
Definitely not.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, definitely not, because I'm already starting to experience this sort of like kind of withdrawal, or not really wanting to make music as much, or like kind of just want to just live life, you know, like, because life's back to normal. I'm not trying to be cooped up in a room all day making beats and, you know, mixing audio all the time. I really like that stuff, you know, when there's nothing else to do. But now like there's actual social things going on in life, right? And I think at that time it forced us all to kind of just lock in and like work on our stuff, and also network and stuff with people. So without that COVID pandemic, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't have had all the songs we made together. Probably would have never started making beats. It's really cool how things kind of happen for a reason a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I like that whole like reality withdrawal kind of thing. I went through it twice, right?
Really?
And it's like the first time is when everything started to open up, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, life's normal again, and I just put off music, and that's like when I met Aiden. And then I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna keep working on it. And then like literally like just recently when I messaged you and I'm like, yo, send me some beats, that's when I got back into it. And it's just like, it's great, because I feel like once you have that time off, like I feel like everyone needs breaks, right? Once you have that time off and you let ideas build up, as soon as you get back, you're much better than you were before, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Sometimes you take a break and it lets you to see things from a different perspective. Yeah. And you see your music differently, and you see your art differently. And you see all the past mistakes you make, and you're like, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. You know, and it also shows you, you know, you consumed a little bit in life too. You listen to new music, you watch new films, you know, consume media, and that's going to kind of be incorporated into your work in some facets, you know? Yeah. But that only happens if you kind of take that break and consume for a bit. Yeah. You know?
And it's crazy, because like you can look at like that in any aspect. For example, like working out. Yeah. Right. I can like, I have a certain like amount that I can bench, and then like a week, like, I take like a week break, like 5-day break, 4-day break, and I get back and I'm like, oh, I can bench this easily. And I'm like, I would have thought that I would have lost my gains, but I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, we're back, right?
Yeah, because it's almost like a recovery thing, and then like you're like stronger the next time because you know more and stuff like that. So.
Exactly. As long as you're not doing that for too long, though.
Yeah.
You know, then you get into like a slump a little bit where it's like, I haven't done anything in like 3 months. You know, then it's like time to shake it up. You know.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring it back to when you released that album. You also, I believe it was for the album, you did a performance at like a place. You invited people to come. I believe Skira also performed then, and a couple other people. Like, how did you like decide to do that? You know, get that place to do it, and how was that whole experience, like being able to do it live in front of friends or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, It was pretty cool. I initially had the idea once the album was done. I was like, all right, we got to do something like crazy for this. But I kind of messaged a bunch of artists and most of them said no to coming. But then he's always there, right? Aiden came, a couple artists came, and it was just performing in front of people and seeing that people are like coming out to see your stuff is insane. Like it's next level, right?
I think I had an exam that night, or I would have been there for sure, dude. Yeah,
So-
dude. Go ahead.
Did
tell me.
you? So you set that up? Like you organized that. Okay, cool. Is that like stuff that you'd want to do like more of in the future?
For sure. Performing is one of the biggest parts that I look forward to with music, because it's once again it's that feeling that people are like they're coming out to see you, right? They're leaving their home and they're like, I'm so excited to see this person. And that's you, and you're like, what the hell?
That's
Like,
so
what?
dope, man.
All right.
And especially if like they're singing your song too and like
Yeah,
rocking out to
exactly.
it, that's fucking dope.
That gets me excited right now.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I just want to hear you perform and like some of our songs that we have together. I feel like it makes it all worth it. You know, like even if Gianluca, let's say, makes a short film, he shows it in a theater with like 100 people. That makes it more than worth it. You know, all that work that you put in.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, the audience. It's really not about us. It's about the people that you show to, and you know, the people you show your work to and they consume your art.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
Yeah, not only like just like like it's one thing like when people watch views like from my YouTube video, like we always say like, oh my god, we got like 1,000 views on that. Like can't even name like like 20 people,
Or even
I
a
know.
million views on that last
on
TikTok.
that TikTok,
we did,
right? But then but being able to see them live in front of you is actually like crazy, like you said. Like, that's pretty cool. And like have you ever had like people come up to you like saying like known you from like a song or something like that, or like, you know, just a random person? Or
I had one interaction when I was eating sushi. Like
really?
the person that was serving us recognized me, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
I'm waiting for someone to recognize me when I'm with my parents. So my parents see it and they're like, wait,
famous,
like he's actually doing something, right? He's not
yeah.
just like locking himself in his room and saying random stuff.
well, like because Victoria Day just happened, though, we had a little fair here that happened. There was a couple guys that like I've known like on my Snapchat, and one of the guys I used to go to school with and whatever, like all three of them confronted me while I was with my dad, and they were like, yo, we watched the podcast and shit. We had a little conversation, and after my dad goes, the hell makes you feel like you're famous? Yeah, dude, like, and this is nothing so far. Like, imagine if we ever start popping off, like what's gonna happen, right? Like,
Imagine after the next 5 episodes we have.
God, I am famous.
Exactly.
I am
That's how
famous,
it is.
Dad.
I am famous, Dad. Look.
And I think the greatest thing is going to Walmart and then coming out and being like, I can't wait till I can't go into Walmart.
Yes.
Dude, I know
I
that
can't
feeling,
wait
man.
till I'm at the front and I just like I can't walk in to buy like cabbage. Right? It's like I have to get somebody to go and get it for me.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's a crazy
It
thought.
drives you.
It's so
you
that's
to
a
work
weird feeling.
harder.
Sometimes I'm in like a supermarket or something, and I'm like, shit, dude, like, I don't know how many more of these things I can go in before like I'm gonna get bombarded with people.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like my own head, like, you know, gassing myself up a little bit.
Yeah. But you need it, right? It's
yeah,
motivation.
yeah,
It gets you working.
Yeah, dude. I think Kanye once said that he wrote a line in The College Dropout, I think, for All Falls Down. He's got a light-skinned friend that looks like Michael Jackson, got a dark-skinned friend that looks like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And after he wrote that line, he knew that he would never be able to do anything regularly ever again. because it was that good of a line.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wanted to talk about like one of my favorite songs, obviously your most viewed song. We always sing it together and stuff too, like party with us.
You
right?
want to party with us?
We always bump, like
Party in the apartment
like,
with us.
how
I
did
love
you
that
come up
song.
with that song, or like, you know, just or like in general, like how did you come up with that song, or just the thought behind it? Yeah.
It was around the time that I got in contact with Baby No Money, and the label was like, all right, we're gonna drop a song. We need a song. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go and I pump out like 5 or 6 songs and I send it to them. And they're like, nah, these aren't it. Like they like them, but they're like, you could do better. Right. And like everyone always says that like pressure makes diamonds, right? Like I just so much pressure on my head just to get a good song. And then I'm sitting down like bummed out one day. And then in my mind, I'm just like, she wanna party with us. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right. It's like and that's like from there I switched my name to like Party with Hadi because I'm like this is it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I switched it again recently, but yeah.
Yeah, that song was pretty cool when it first dropped. Like it was just a vibe. Like it's like
Yeah.
And I think you got a lot to talk about that. So
Yeah, let's go to
after the
ads. I was
break,
gonna say,
we'll talk more about that.
Cool.
All right, cool. If you guys like this kind of setup, comment down below if you're fucking vibing with it.
And don't forget that we're on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere.
Amazon,
YouTube,
Apple,
BuzzTune, whatever it's called.
Audible,
Podtune.
Podbay.
We're on Podbay. we're everywhere.
We're on it all.
We're on your grandmother's radio, you know?
Exactly. Buongiorno.
She's got translation set to the
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're back from that ad break. Trigo, you wanted to touch on a topic or something?
Yeah, honestly, I forgot what we were talking about. No, we were talking about
Party With Us, yeah.
So how does that whole process? What does that look like? Because how did you even? So I know you sent the remix, or you did the remix, and then you sent that, and then what happened from there?
Yeah, so his friend, like David, he reached out to me after that, and he's like, "Hey, we're looking to sign like singles." Because they at that time they signed a few singles, but it was kind of just with their group, and they were like, "Yeah, let's work, let's sign a single," and yeah, that was basically it.
How does that work though? Like, do they take a percentage? Like, how,
Yeah,
do they
so-
do the publishing? Like, what is it?
They published it, and then they took a cut of the song.
How much do you, if you mind asking?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember how much. It probably was 50-50. It most likely was 50-50.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they dealt with most of the promotion. And they got it almost to where it was, like where it is right now. So I'm kind of just like, all right, you know what?
Right.
All right.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm always interested in like the business side of the music industry.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a very like unspoken about side of it. Everyone's always talking about like how to make music or what kind of like techniques, but very few people talk about the dollar signs behind it and like what you do. Because I'm in business. I'm in commerce at McMaster. So like I'm trying to use that as like kind of my double-edged sword a little bit, right? Where I got like the music and I also got the business side of things. So I could like, if I want to manage someone or do some songs, it's always good to have two sides of things,
Yeah.
And you definitely do that with like, writing the books and doing the other stuff. You're becoming more of like a triple-headed snake or something, whatever you want to
All
call
these
it.
damn
Pause.
words here.
And I was talking to my brother about that actually. I was like, a lot of rappers that are coming out right now, they are kind of like, a lot of rappers are flopping. Right, they'll release a single, it'll go crazy, it'll shake the internet, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right, and my whole thing has been, nobody does their research. Right, like before I started putting out music, I researched the hell out of artists. Right,
Like what kind of artists?
At the time, X, this was like what 2017, 2018. X, I looked into J. Cole, I looked into like Drake, just how he went from acting and then bit of music, and then he just kept going back and forth.
Degrassi, yeah.
And it was like all these guys have a certain method to how they do it, right? And my big thing has always been, make sure I have a single ready to drop, just in case the song bangs. Drop another single right there, right? Because if you ride that wave too long, it's over, right? Your cloud is just gonna come crashing down, right? And then there's always people like Tekka, for example, that no matter what he drops, it's gonna go crazy, right? But yeah, I mean, the people that are at the top of the industry right now, and I don't mean like Drake, where it's like whatever song he drops is gonna get 1 million streams. Like people that are riding that wave, they're such geniuses. Like it's insane. There's so much that goes on behind the actual music. It's crazy.
Talk a little bit more about that. I kind of want to like know what goes on behind the music.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to keep this balance, and I find it kind of annoying where if you don't release enough or if you release too much, people get pissed off and they just won't listen. I think that's where my music took a hit, because I was making songs like every day, like so many songs, and just putting them out over and over and over. And I think I oversaturated my own discography.
Right.
And people started looking at it and they're like, I don't know, right? It's that's how it played out. And I don't know, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So there's always another wave to ride, right? There's always another way, right?
I noticed that too, like with releasing like videos as well. Like when you're doing a lot at once, like I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, okay, it's just another video like every day. But like sometimes, but like maybe music's different because it's interesting with you too. Like whenever I see you like post a Snapchat story saying like what's it called, like, oh, new song could be coming out and stuff, like I get excited because I notice you don't post a lot like
Yeah.
on your Snapchat and stuff about like that stuff. Like it's every once in a while like, oh, I'm back in the studio, or like when you posted the
Yeah.
Petro thing, we reached out, I was like, oh my god, like you're doing a song with Hadi, whatever.
Yeah.
That's dope. So I feel like, yeah, sometimes always being on my Snapchat story, like people are like, oh, it's just another story. But like you said, when sometimes you're kind of hidden for a bit and then all of a sudden you come out of nowhere, guys have a song dropping, people are like, oh my god, like Hadi's dropping again, right? Like it's like an exciting thing. So but then also, like, I don't know, go hand in hand
There's
with like,
definitely
yeah,
two different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna go that way, where you don't post every single day, you still have to be somewhat consistent. Otherwise, what's happening there? You know what I mean? You can drop off the face of the earth, and people are like, "Where's this guy?"
Yeah.
And then maybe that is what you want. Maybe that's what you want. You know, you're coming up with an album. You're going into hiding. Finish this album, drop it. You know, but you still, at least you have to be, before you go into hiding, you have to be somewhat consistent so people know who you are.
Yeah, I think
Right?
there's a balance.
It's a balance.
Right?
It is.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of like there's always a lot of artists that make a song, and I don't think it's typically that the song doesn't do well, so they stop making music. I think it's they just don't find that balance. They don't find that consistency, right? They don't find that. They get annoyed and they're like, all right, that's it, right? But people that stay consistent to it, and not even consistent for like the views, but just consistent to find that balance to keep people engaged, that's when like you have it, right? That's when you have the world in your hands, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. And I talked about this with Skira too. Like when you're in a studio, like you want to write a song or like you're just feeling it right now, the vibe. Like what do your sessions look like? Like are you freestyling to start off and then like you fill in bars after? Like, you know, how does it work?
It's different a lot of times. Usually it's middle of the day. I really love recording in the middle of the day. I just find that that's where my thought process is the best. Some songs I'll freestyle it bit by bit. Some songs I'll freestyle like a whole verse. Most of the time I'll do a track just mumbling over the beat and then create from there and be like, oh yeah, this flow, even though it's mumbled, sounds amazing on it. Or like, I know people are gonna hate on this statement, but the auto-tune hits really hard here. And it's like, okay, let's do that again, right? But actually fill it in. Yeah.
I actually did that today. I was
Yeah.
recording a song. And I was like, okay, so all I do is just mumble that shit for like a minute, and then you add lyrics to it. I feel like that's like what majority of the people do in like the music industry.
It's the best way to get your feel around it, right? Because it's like you're not putting words to it, but there still is emotion behind it. Like even when you're mumbling over the track, right? There's like few bits of words here and there, but it's like the emotion is there, right? Everything that you want to be put in there is there, right?
That's the most important thing, I think. With it's like melody, the emotion, you know, the delivery.
Yeah.
Those things are there, then it's going to be a pretty good song.
Yeah.
And then of course the lyrics have to be at par with that, and the beat has to be at par with that, and the mixing has to be on par with that.
sure.
And that's what's the interesting part about making a hit song is that, or even making a song in general, is that it's not just one thing that has to be amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of things have to be amazing. But sometimes, you know, if the one thing isn't amazing, it gives it a cool little sound. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like a demo, and then that's cool sometimes. But yeah, there's a lot of layers that go into music. The whole production side of it that is, I don't know, a lot that goes into it. Do you produce at all? Like, do you make beats?
So I started off producing, like when I
really?
first started making music, it was with production.
Oh, really?
And then I did the same thing as you, where it's like I would mumble over it, and I was like, wow, I really like doing this. So I kept going with that. But yeah, now I very rarely produce. I could put something together. It won't sound the best, but even if it's just something to send to a producer to be like, I want something kind of like this, but make it good.
Right.
Right. Like that is where I cap off at.
I see.
Well, something I find interesting with your music too that I like, and like it keeps it like fresh and like making you want to keep listening, is you like to switch your voice a lot. I noticed. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's the "Gotta Get Serious" song where like you do
Yeah.
the "I'm gonna beat it up like it's UFC,"
Yeah.
bands on me, something like right. Like you switch your voice, so it kind of sounds like there's a feature on it or something like that, which is pretty cool. And I noticed you do that with a couple songs, and yeah, I think it's kind of like a unique sound that's like
Thank
to
you.
you, right? That's pretty
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. That's like one of my favorite songs of yours.
Yeah.
Maybe I got the beat on
Yeah,
it.
like, Gotta Get
No, I'm telling you, like there's so many people that come up to me in school and they're like, gotta get serious. Is it? Like GGS, GGS.
I remember making that beat. That was I remember I was like, fuck, like it just started like it was like my hands were just making it. I
Yeah.
wasn't even thinking. It was
Yeah.
just like I just made that like little guitar arpeggio and then I added the flute and like half timed it in the beginning. I was like, shit, this is hard.
Yeah.
And there's like something with those like Spanish like guitar flute things
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
if it hits, it freaking hits, dude. Like and you hit it out of the park. I remember I sent you the beat. Whatever. I sent you the beat, and then all of a sudden, like next thing I know, you fucking have a whole song fully done.
Yeah.
I was like, no way, this guy just did this. I sent it to you a day ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really impressive that you actually like did all that.
Did you make it
appreciate that.
for him?
Yeah. I
Or
sent
was
it
that
to him.
just like a thing, like you had this beat ready or not?
Well, actually, it's interesting that beat. So I made that beat one day just to like make a beat, right? Like it's just I was inspired. I wanted to make something pretty like kind of aggressive sounding, like hard beat. And then I just put like a Drake acapella on it. I just like
Okay.
I put like Drake and Migos. So there's actually a version of that song on Spotify with a Drake and Migos. Like
Damn.
I think it's Having My Way.
Yeah.
The acapella for that because I saw some guy on TikTok do like a remix with that. It's like, oh, maybe I can make a beat, for that too.
Damn, that's sick. That like gives me
yeah.
insight to
Yeah.
more of that, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. So then I was like, shit, like this is a damn good beat. Like I gotta send this to someone. And then I always send the beats to Hadi whenever they're really hard like that. So
Yeah.
and then he just did his thing and that was
song is crazy.
That's a banger. Yeah.
I think some of the first works that we worked on was like the 80s like Stranger Things stuff.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is when when you sent me those beats, I fell in love with your production. I'm like,
Oh,
this guy's crazy,
That's
right?
sick, yeah.
When
I remember that, dude. You you were like, yo, I need shit for 80s Stranger Things,
Yeah.
that vibe. Like you're trying to make a Stranger Things album, right?
Yeah,
Or-
I'm not even gonna lie. The inspiration behind that is I had a really huge crush on Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, really?
I'm telling this is fresh. Nobody's ever heard this. All right. And I would I'm gonna hit her with like the Baby No Money, like how I got his attention. Send it to every single there's actually now that I'm remembering, there's someone off the cast of Stranger Things that listened to it and he liked it. It never went anywhere, but I'm like, this is
Wait,
so
who's
sick.
the guy off the cast?
Have you guys watched Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know that the bald guy that has like the hair on the sides? He's in I think the newest season. And he
I don't
he
remember.
chills with I'm blanking.
Anyways, he listened to it.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I think I
so-
remember you also when you were trying to say like tag one time you posted like to
Yeah,
promote it, like,
yeah.
you were like saying like, oh man, we can actually
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
You might have to cook up a new one now if this next season.
Dude,
I
we
was
could do
gonna
an
say,
80s EP if you want.
I'm so down. I've been waiting to do like an EP with one person. Like, you know how Baby No Money has like the
Yeah.
Baby Gravy?
Right.
Right? I just been trying to find that person to do a whole EP with and just go crazy on.
Oh
So
shit, I might have to become a rapper for that.
just hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, dude. I remember, back to that. You wanted that certain type of thing. That was like the first time I made a beat or anything with like an idea that someone else wanted it. Like it was a first custom style thing.
Yeah.
Other than like my work with Julian, but I was like, shit, this is kind of out of my comfort zone. I never really made 80s stuff at that time.
Yeah.
And then that expanded my whole horizons to that style of music, which is cool. And I think now I can just do that. If someone says I want it this way, it's like a chef. Like I want like this kind of, food, right? I got that skill through working with Hadi for sure.
And it was interesting because every producer besides you that I hit up for that EP, none of them replied back. None of them gave me a beat.
Really?
The other beats that I used besides yours were off YouTube. And that was the only reason I didn't drop it on Spotify.
Oh,
Or
just
else-
drop
or
it
else
on
I would've dropped
Spotify
it.
without those.
I think I might just, yeah.
You might. No, that's fine. It's fine. But
But I have to re-record them.
But yeah. That's another thing. You could have songs that are like rough and stuff.
Mhm.
And like I was thinking, what if I get like a new mic? You know, like I have some songs I just recorded on my own.
Mhm.
If I had that new mic and that better mixing, like it would maybe make it like the like what you need to drop that song. But sometimes I think the song is just that good. Like, what did you record Party with us on? Just like a Snowball, or what kind of mic do you use?
It was on. So I have an Aston Stealth.
Okay.
It's the mic I use right now. Still, it's just the mixing was horrible on it because what I used to do and kind of what I still sometimes do is I just have a preset
Right.
and I just throw everything onto the preset. And I think for Party with Us, I didn't tweak it at all. I don't know. I don't remember. I think the version that's dropped, Yona mixed it, so
Yeah.
it sounds a little bit better than what I did. But yeah, like even mixing, I'm trying to get that down somewhat, just so I like have stuff that I can drop by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, because that's a liberating thing. Like if you know how to mix,
yeah,
if you know how to produce, mix, and do all the stuff,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want. You have an entire creative control over
Mm-hmm.
it. But at the same time, that's like a blessing and a curse
Mm-hmm.
because now you're tasked with doing every single thing that you could do.
yeah,
You need a team around you.
Yeah.
You know, teamwork makes the dream work. It's the most cliche thing
Facts.
you'll ever hear. But we couldn't do what we're doing right now if we didn't have the team. We wouldn't be able to do it as proficiently.
Yeah.
You know, I think once you have that team around you, the chances of it being successful go up way more, dude. Way more because
Yeah,
you
for
have people who are going to tell you that sucks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they're going to be honest with you. You're going to have people who are going to say that's a hit, and maybe you don't think it is, and you don't want to drop it, but maybe that person like pushes you to drop that single,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or maybe there's someone who's good at mixing, or someone who does the video stuff, or makes your music videos like Gianluca. Or Julian, you know, he's like kind of the voice of our podcast. Sorry, but yeah, like there's always like different like things that people bring to the table, and it only comes with like a team. I'd say.
For sure.
Yeah. And also, I think it was the Party with Us song. I believe that was in the movie too. Didn't I don't know if you remember you posted that or something like. It was,
yeah. So it is in a movie. It's called Jenny. It's on American Prime right now. I think it's coming to Hubo. I don't even know. I think it's coming to that soon. But yeah, that's just waiting on the director and then.
And then
his
how'd you
take
like
and
land
stuff.
that, or like how did it like?
My sister-in-law's friend, I guess, she's a model and she knows the director, and she was like, "Hey, he's looking for songs." I messaged him, he didn't reply, and I went to her and I went, he just didn't reply. So she like pressed him, and she's like reply to this kid, like he's good. And then he listened to it and he's like, "Oh, it fits. It's perfect." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's do it."
go.
And it's just went from there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is it like in like a club scene or something, like a part they're like dancing to
I
it or
think he
something?
told me. I think it's like as they're walking out of a club. He hasn't sent me like the actual clip of it yet,
Right.
but we're just kind of waiting for it to come out now.
I was gonna
That's
say, so Gianluca, he's planning on working on a film. I don't want to say what he's planning on doing, but he's been talking about doing a feature film. And I was saying, guys like you, Skira, would be great to like use as music for the film.
Yeah,
You know, like if you guys are down, because
for sure.
I feel like, you know, we got to use our community.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't say use, but collaborate with our community more. We were having a conversation at our buddy's birthday party, me, Gianluca, and this guy 88 Wave. We were just talking about how the thing that's like setting a lot of us back is that we don't leverage our community. We don't use each other and our skills, our differing skills, right?
Yeah,
And if we actually like tapped in with each other, it'd be a lot of cool stuff that we'd actually make.
for sure.
Like for example, you got a guy who makes pretty damn good music videos sitting right beside you,
Exactly.
and you have a guy who makes pretty damn good songs, and you got a guy who makes pretty damn good beats, and then you got, you know, Julian here too, and then you put them all together,
Just gonna throw shit.
and you got like a good thing, dude. Like you got Julian, who's like, you know, he's the hype man. I feel like he's very like good at talking, I'd say. So you have everyone bringing their skills together. I keep feeling like I'm beating a dead horse at this point.
And that's it. And then we just make a podcast.
And then we just
That's
make a
what we're doing.
podcast to
No,
talk
no.
about it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's
And then,
the best part.
You did have an idea, Nick, that you brought up to, I believe. I don't know.
well,
if
we
I don't know if you
almost
said it
did
this
do a
year,
music video. We almost did do.
Oh
it,
yeah,
remember?
yeah. We almost did for the
almo-
40 round song.
Yeah.
We were gonna do
yeah.
that Breaking
Yeah,
Bad
yeah, yeah.
themed one.
Yeah.
But then I realized, wait a second, doesn't Rich the Kid have the same music video? Where
Oh
Plug
yeah,
Walk?
with the yeah.
Yeah, so I was like,
Yeah, with the alien, right?
yeah, which is too bad. But okay, what was it? I wanted to say, would you be down to like if let's say Unmastered had its own concert or something? Would you perform?
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course,
'cause we were
I'm there,
thinking
yo.
about that,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, I'm there.
I'm thinking like if we could build a bit of a fan base here, a community, and have artists on. We've told a couple other people as well. Rilio, who was on, he does like DJing. We're like, would you want to like DJ and then eventually have artists come on, like, and we can have like a whole kind of like little concert. That'd
Exactly.
be
Yeah,
pretty
everyone
dope.
who does anything, like,
Yeah,
can come
I'm
on
there.
Be sick. That would be sick, dude. We could do it like really good too. I feel.
Yeah.
You know, Julian could host it. That's what I mean. He's like the good host. So we could have Julian as the MC.
Yeah, I want to see this guy host.
And
it.
then
You go up on
we
there, man?
got we got Hadi rapping his ass off.
Yes,
Gianluca
sir.
making like some sort
Do
of
the
fucking short
visualizer in the
films.
back.
Yeah, like
No.
dude, like come on, that would be insane. Yeah, imagine the visualizers you could actually make in the back, like those Travis Scott style ones.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, oh man,
can
that'd be
speed it
sick. I
up.
gotta learn how to DJ or at least make a song or something. God damn it. But yeah, like all of us, like we can make a nice little set list. When it's all said and done, all the like artists and people we have on, like by the end of the year, maybe next summer,
Yeah.
we'll think of maybe doing like a concert, rent out a
Yeah,
venue,
let's do
maybe
it.
even the end of the summer. You never know where this stuff goes.
Yeah, exactly.
You really never know. But I think that'd be a pretty cool idea.
I don't know if we touched on the way like we actually like found out about Hadi. I believe it was we talked about off the podcast was the big Jeep truck when you made the song with Skier because we knew Aiden and then you guys did that little music video and again we did watch that together. I think
Yeah, we were here.
I
Yeah.
think like
I think
every
you
time
sent me the video as well.
yeah,
you guys
of us,
watching
like
it.
watching it. Like every time he like releases something, we're always together for some reason. Like yeah, we watched the video together on the TV and we're like yeah, like this song I really like the song. I believe you took it down now though, right? Yeah, or it's the music video or something
music
like that?
video
Yeah,
is
the music
down,
video. Yeah, but I think it's still on your Spotify, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, why is this filmed on like a phone or something?
Yeah.
Like, what happened with that?
We like realistically we just didn't have the budget. Like
Oh.
we at the time I wasn't making any money,
Yeah.
right? So well we called a like air park, like a local air park, and we booked that airstrip. So we filmed it on the airstrip.
Holy
and
shit,
that was
dude.
that was just a blessing because we hit them up and they're like, yeah, hell yeah, come through. They're like,
so
they're,
sick.
the funniest thing, they were just like, if you see a plane, get out of there. They're like, if you see a plane coming, get out of there. And we're like,
Oh
all
my
right, cool.
god.
Yeah, it was
Luckily nothing came, but I mean,
That's cool. They let you do that though.
yeah.
it looked pretty cool. Like yeah, you're on like an airstrip and you had,
Did
like,
a plane come?
No, sadly
That
not.
would be pretty cool for the video if it just like
Yeah,
flew.
imagine it flew over. You just hop
Yeah.
on it, like.
No, I literally, I got my brother to just pull up with his like phone, and we took the
Dope.
shots from there. Yeah.
See that's an example of making the stuff despite having the budget or despite having the equipment. You're still making it, and probably had a good amount of views, like 2K or something like that. Doesn't
Yeah,
really
somewhere
matter.
around
But
that,
like
yeah.
a lot of people saw that, and you know they listen to the music, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's
yeah.
not always about like having the nicest stuff.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's always like, for example, when I put on the release party, at the last song, majority of the people that came weren't there anymore. But the people that were there, they were like the people that were closest with me. Right. And it was like it felt like I was sitting there performing for them and only them. Right. And it's like that is just a live feeling that like even if it's like two people sitting in a room and one person is performing and you're like, this person has their attention all on me. Like it's crazy. Even if it's one person. Right.
It's really like a cool feeling, even if it's just one person that cares about your stuff. We take it for granted, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
don't even realize it. But if you're impacting at least one person, you're doing a good job, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you just got to figure out, how do I make that 1 million people?
Yeah.
You know, and then that feeling's probably even better, like by multiple amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say is like maybe your favorite song you've ever made? It maybe like you have an unreleased song that's your favorite. Like
I screwed around and made a lot of songs that aren't ever gonna drop that were pretty good. But I think coming back from this break, like the songs that I've made with your recent pack, I think some of the ones off there are like my favorites. Like my
Really?
absolute favorites.
We
yeah.
might have to preview those at one point
Hell yeah.
for the people. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's sick, dude.
and like let's say like a dream collaboration, like could be a big artist, someone more middle, or just even there's a local
Yeah,
guy.
who
Like
do you
anybody
wanna
you'd
work
wanna
with,
maybe
man?
work with?
This is I feel like giving like a shitty answer, just being like Taylor Swift. But I mean, but no. Baby No Money would be crazy.
Wait, did you not work with him, or like I remember you had a song on SoundCloud with his feature?
I have a remix to one of his songs.
Oh, okay,
that was
okay.
like an official remix. Like he sent the stems, I
Oh,
put my
yeah,
verse
yeah,
in the
yeah.
way and released it. But no, soon, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're watching this, Baby
Yeah,
No
man.
Money,
Come on,
gotta
baby.
help
we
your
gotta
artist
get that
out,
song
man.
out.
Yeah, dude.
And then that Man in the Mirror song, is that the remix you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was a
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good song too. I like that one. But yeah, I mean, he can't really show any unreleased stuff now because he's using his mic for the thing, right, on his laptop. So maybe he can't.
Oh yeah, you might have to just.
I have my phone. I can
Yeah,
put it
you
up
got
on my
okay.
phone,
You
yeah.
might have to send it or airdrop it to John Luca,
Mhm.
and then he'll connect to the speaker. And
Okay,
then
yeah.
play it through there.
Yeah.
That probably would be the best way of going about it.
Do you
So-
think there's any like do you have like any negative effects of being an artist, or like just hardest parts of being an artist, and even maybe some positives, some things you like about being an artist in a way?
I think one thing that's kind of a blessing and a curse is people know who you are. And it's like, even if it's just people around school, they know who you are. And I feel like even if I stop making music right now, that would never get detached from my name, like artist. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because at the end of the day, we kind of run on ifs, right? And as much as it pains me to say, right? Because I've always been the person that I'm like, don't say if, it's when I blow up, right? But it's like as you get older, you start to realize like realistically we run on ifs, right? And if something doesn't work out, it doesn't, and that's just how it is. But I feel like it's a blessing and a curse that people know me, but I don't know. Yeah.
Because think about it too, like if you were to see a friend of yours from like 20 years from now, let's say, like they're probably gonna say like, oh yeah, that's that Petro guy. He used to make beats back in high school. Or, that's
Yeah,
Hadi. He used to
exactly.
make music. Like you're always like stuck to this kind of label in a way.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we're reaching a minute left here on this ad break, so we'll go to a quick little thing, and we'll be back for another segment.
Cool.
She wanna party with us. She wanna party. She wanna walk in with us. She look like a Barbie. She never argue with us, but we don't like talking. And little boy talking about us, then you know we on it.
All right, so we're back. Hadi was showing us some unreleased music behind the scenes. Are we ready to show that to the people?
We might as well.
Sure.
We might as
do
well
it.
show
Pull
them.
up.
New Hadi prod Nick Petro.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
damn. Hadi Hadeen, Nick Petro.
Goes too hard.
It's way too hard. They got double names now. At first they were singular names.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, dude.
This song is such a drag, honey. Put my whip in first, then I'm finna hit the
Oh,
dash.
tricky.
Really care what you say. We living life and we really living fast.
Tell the day.
I die, you under my life blessed. Tell me why everybody talk behind my back. Every time I talk,
Those little cutoffs are sick.
Yeah.
Dope, man, dope. Yeah, don't give him everything, but
That's sick, dude. So what's
There you
that
go.
one called?
I don't.
you don't
Okay,
have a title
for it
yet?
yet?
Funny enough, I named it Bob. Like the same as the.
Bro.
It's because I was working on it at the same time, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to call it, so I
You
just
might just
typed
have
in
to do a
Bob.
soundtrack for your book.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
That's
yeah.
what I
Pull
was
a
thinking.
Logic.
Who's done that?
Supermarket.
Who's done that? That's-
Other than Logic.
Other than Logic. Who's done that?
But yeah, no, dude, that'd be sick. Soundtrack for Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You see how like we thought it was gonna drop at the start
a
there?
Bob album.
bro.
Make the book.
Yo.
Drop the album that coincides with it.
There
There
could
you
be.
go.
Oh man.
Dude, crazy. That helps you with the storyline and everything.
Oh,
You just
yeah.
make the songs from the perspective of the characters.
Oh, and it's cool because in the book, like every chapter is from a different perspective, and it flips back
There
and
you go.
forth per chapter.
There you go. That's a new
That'd
song.
be
You just
perfect.
make a song with the
Oh,
chapter in
man.
mind.
Oh man.
And then it's like, oh, you're a Gambino now? Is that what you're at? Like, holy shit. He's got the whole like screenplay to go with it, you know?
I'm telling you, if I'm gonna get too in character and not be able to snap out of my characters.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That's exciting. That's
Yeah,
very
man.
exciting.
Do you enjoy reading a lot, like as well, or
Okay, so I read a bit. I don't. I like reading if it's what I want to read. But like if it's with school and they're like, read this book, I'm like, no. I'm like, I will not read that book. I will go to Spark Notes and bullshit the whole thing. But like if I go to chapters, I went once and I picked out a book and I'm like, yo, this book is sick, right? Then I'll be like, all right, whatever. But no, I don't. I want to start reading more, and it's been like one of my goals, but just gotta get to it.
It's interesting. You don't read a lot, but you're gonna write a book.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, something to be said about people who don't like do a lot or don't consume a lot of a thing that try to make it.
Yeah.
You know, I tried making like an EDM song, and I don't really like listen to EDM too much. And I feel like it's like you're treading in like uncharted waters. I saw
Yeah.
David Bowie say something about that a little bit. When you do stuff that you feel like, oh, I shouldn't kind of be making that thing. I'm not really like versed in it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But maybe that's all you need. You need to be the fresh set of eyes that is in that industry. You might be the next great author who've never read that many books.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know, like
And-
it's always that kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, that kind of brings me to like I really enjoy doing stuff that pisses people off. So like if I'm writing, like for example in the book, there's like the way I've spaced out lines are like they're visually appealing to me, but if I brought it to like an author, they'd be like, get this out of like
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
And I just like I love it so much. Or like for example, like making a sad song with really happy lyrics. Like people will hear that and be pissed, but I'm like, oh, I just love it so much, right? And it's so fun to just
To piss
Right.
people off.
yeah, exactly. It's so
It
great.
gets the attention, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of these guys who've made big things, like originally, like for example, let's say the Spider-Man comics, like first when Stan Lee first brought the character Spider-Man, they were like, no, who would want to like this guy and stuff? You know, he's a spider. People hate spiders and stuff. And now he's
Yeah.
like literally the biggest like Marvel superhero, right? So yes, it could be a new little wave of things, and people might actually like, oh, I like the way Hattie does that with his things, and then maybe that becomes like the new norm, or people start copying you after, right? So
Because it's always like great minds think alike as well, right? Where it's like if you have that mindset of people that are up there, they'll look at it, and regardless of how many people hate it, they'll be like, hey, yo, this guy's doing something,
Yeah,
right? This guy's doing something different.
Real
right?
recognize real.
And that's what it is at the end of the day. If you're able, and it's really hard to be original now, but if you're able to be original, you got it.
Okay, I saw Pharrell say something. There's no really original anything. And that everything is just borrowed. And like there's probably ideas that have been done in like the 1500s that we totally forgot about.
Yeah.
But now they're coming back up into surface with a new context. You know, someone might do something and it's like, for example, you know, Tyler, the Creator, right? He goes and he makes his album, Call Me If You Get Lost. Everyone thinks, oh, what a cool concept. So original, so cool. Little do they know, it's influenced directly from Wes Anderson's Grand Budapest Hotel, which came out, you know, years prior. So nothing's really original. It's just how you put it on your own individual skew, you know? How do you skew it for yourself, right? And that can be a very liberating thing for artists. Where it's like, okay, I don't have to be original. I don't have to have an original flow. I don't have to have an original beat always, or I don't have to original film. You know, even Quentin Tarantino, he borrowed shots from old films.
It happens all the time.
John Luca can talk more about that probably. Like,
Well, yeah, for sure. Well, even with films, like story, there's like 9 ways to write a story apparently.
Only,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
There's 9 different stories, and the original part comes of how you're telling that story, or like who the characters are, and what what it's about, right? But the whole thing, guy falls in love with girl, this happens, the hero's journey, it's all the same. But it's like, what is it about? That's different, you know what I mean? Like, what's like the added challenges and everything that's the part that's the original part, and that's really where it lands.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
But
yeah.
like we've come to a point in the world where everybody, you know, what people resonate with and what people like to hear in a story, right? They want conflict. Okay, that needs to happen here, and then it needs to end like this, right? And there's all these different
formulaic,
things. It's
yeah.
formulaic, but then there is also the other argument, or not the other argument. There's of course the exceptions where it's not formulaic,
Right.
and that happens all the time.
Okay, so that bridges to another thing. I saw this guy, Johan Lennox, okay? He's a kind of up-and-coming singer. He did strings on Kanye's albums and Travis Scott. I think he did it on Coffee Bean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He recently released an album, and he was saying how there's only Picassos or stop signs in art. Okay, so a Picasso is something that's totally different, like Pablo Picasso. It's a totally original work that's never been done before. It's very rare. It's almost like an album cut on an album, you know? Like you have a song that's kind of like not the hit, you know? But then there's stop signs, which are the formulaic forms of art, where it's like a stop sign, right? You can trace a stop sign pretty damn easily, and you can do it many times, you know? And that's the problem with like a lot of songs, is that they'll literally do the same things, and then they get into legal problems, which is what he was saying. And so it's interesting. Do you try to do that formulaic route where it's like a stop sign type thing, where you want to just kind of copy it, do it like word for word kind of, and do your own skew? Or do you do it in a Picasso where it's kind of like a Kanye West type thing, where it's like never been done, and it's like it's a risk, right? Like you've probably never heard another song like Runaway before,
Right.
and that could have flopped hard, or it's arguably one of the best rap songs ever made, right? So it's the risk you take as an artist to either do the Picasso or the stop sign.
Yeah. I think the thing is, with guys like that, with Kanye's and everything like that, I think there's too many people, they try to do that as well.
Try to do
And
what?
then they try to copy exactly what those guys
what
do.
those get, but then that's
So
a
then-
proven method, so it's technically a stop sign.
Yeah. So you can't do that. But with the guys that are like the great exceptions, Kanye's, right? Guys that do things like that, I think they knew how to do the stop sign version, like you're saying. Though. Like you have to know how to do that.
Right.
You have to know what the formula is. You have to know the basics. And then you can go and change it up and break it.
Yeah.
You have to know that. And I think a lot of people just try to jump into just trying to be original too. Sometimes, and then it doesn't work because they don't even know how to make just a normal formulaic song. You know what I mean?
Very true.
I'm just saying song in general, but I'm talking about even short films too. Like a lot of people just try to like be really original. When this is a thing, you just have to be simple. Simple but original.
Keep it simple,
know?
stupid.
Yeah. It's simple, stupid.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to
that
the
from
same,
again?
the whole, oh man, what? My brain is not working. Oh,
okay.
okay, whatever. Let's go past that. I guess.
It wasn't meant to be, dude.
Yeah, to show.
It was a secret. That's got to stay a secret.
Yeah,
I
it's a
guess.
secret. Maybe you got to come on again to talk about it more.
What's the keep it simple, stupid again? I
It's
forgot what that
keep
is.
things stupid.
No,
Like
but
keep things simple.
is that just a saying,
It's just a
or is it from
saying.
something? As I
Yeah,
forgot.
it's just a saying.
I had a hockey coach who used to say, "Keep it simple, silly," because we weren't around swearing. So that's a different version.
Keep it
Shout out to
simple,
that
silly,
dude.
guys.
But
That's our motto for this podcast.
Keep it simple, silly. Oh God!
Keep
I might
it
have to
smart
cut
and
that
silly. No,
out. Holy shit!
we don't cut
that's
out
bad.
anything.
It's unmastered.
Hey, he
There you go,
knows.
he
He knows. It's been a while since we said why it's called Unmastered. We usually say it like every episode.
Every episode, we're just trying to bring on people. Yeah,
Yeah, we're trying to bring on people who haven't mastered the craft yet, and they're trying to master it, and we're all talking about it and trying to work towards it, towards mastering our craft.
Yes. And on that point, so where do you see yourself in like 10 years? Like, what do you want to be doing? What's your goal with music, with anything that you're doing?
Honestly, I feel like Aiden also touched on this when he was here, where it's like I used to be like, oh, I want to be like Drake, or I want to be like Travis Scott, and I want to be performing in front of millions of people. That would be cool, but honestly, just being able to do whatever I want, and it kind of ties back to why I almost started making music, where it's like people are listening to it and they're like, hey, this is pretty cool, right? As in 10 years, in 5 to 10 years, I kind of just want to be able to put stuff out and people are connecting with it. Like I have that fan base where people are constantly listening to it, but nothing like insane, I'd say. Because I feel like just me, myself, I used to think that I'm that whole kind of, that's why my name was Party with Hadi, right? Where it's like this whole huge, like, oh,
Larger than life.
exactly. And then I kind of cut it back and I'm like, you know what, realistically, I can count the amount of people I talk to a day, right? Where it's like, I kind of want that smaller lifestyle, even though at the same time I'm putting out stuff that people are enjoying, right?
yeah, and I think it goes back to kind of what we were talking about on the podcast we recorded yesterday about, would you rather have like 1 million people in your crowd and like only like a couple of them actually know all your lyrics and are full supporters, or would you rather just have like 100,000, but they're all like singing your song and rocking out to it and are real supporters? I think I'd rather have that than like the million who are just kind of like half of them are standing there and don't know you and stuff like that, right? So
We didn't talk about that at all.
no, you talk
Well,
about like
you said what's
presenting.
We were just talking
more
about
anxiety
presenting.
inducing.
Okay. Yeah,
Saying,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's why a lot of rappers, they like their small venues. Like I
Yeah.
know the
Yeah.
rapper Logic was saying he loves the small venues. He doesn't like the big tours and
Yeah.
stuff.
No,
More
you can
intimate,
like
right?
see everybody. You can see their face, right? Like they're probably like
Yeah.
that. You can connect. You're not just who am I singing to?
That's
I don't know.
true. It also, it can be a
You
little
can-
bit probably
yeah,
more
it
anxiety.
It feels
inducing,
more
too.
like a connection kind of with all those intimate, like 500 people, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
And what were we talking about too? Yeah, so I think,
No, let's talk about something else.
no, but we were talking about, he was saying what he wants to do in like 10 years.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
sorry
I
about
think
that.
like you were talking, I think you brought it up back in the beginning of the podcast. Like you just love like making music.
Yeah.
And like you have 50 songs unreleased, and I think that's probably what you really like to do. Like if you didn't, would you say like if nobody saw your music or you didn't even have plans to release it, like you would just keep making music because it's just something that you enjoyed doing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like that's what it is at the end of the day. Like I fell in love with the craft more than I did the attention. The attention is obviously an added bonus where it's like, damn, like these people like me, whatever, right? But yeah, no, like the craft is amazing. If I wasn't allowed to release a song ever again, I would still be in the studio every single day making what I love to do, right?
Yeah, it's really
It's
cool.
awesome.
That's the best thing about these things. Like if you don't like it, then why are you doing it? Or it's gonna slow you down, right? Like because you really love doing it, it just shows. And a lot of people also say it, right? Like you gotta love the whole process behind it. Like you're saying, you love the process of making music and being in the studio, and not just like the attention from the people. Like you're not like wanting the views and everything. You're just fine with making your song and then listening to it yourself or sharing it to a couple friends and they're rocking out to it too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I want to kind of get into a little bit about your name change. Like I
Mhm.
noticed you now go by Hadi Hadeen.
Yeah.
Would you like to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So yeah, like building off of what I was saying before, like I even have a line in a song where it's like I had to change my name because this is not a party no more. It's unreleased, but it's like I no longer look at it as like, oh, like I don't know. I've never actually been a person that's like, oh, let's go party, let's go do this, right? I've always been like, oh no, I'm busy doing something, and then I like sit with my cat for like hours or whatever, right? But yeah, the name change mainly branched off like I got a lot closer to like religion, and my name in Arabic means guide. And then Hadeen, Deen is like a way of life. So in my eyes, it was kind of like guide to the way of life kind of thing, where it's like I'm kind of just not really guiding people, but just guiding myself, and like being able to, for example, not care what people say, right? Not care if this song gets 100 views, 1 view, or 1,000 views, right? It doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's very cool to know what's behind that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a meaning
Yeah.
to it, and yeah.
Very cool, dude. Very cool.
You also have trouble with like your name changes as well. Nick? Like you're always like flipping back and forth.
dude.
Oh, I've changed my name so many times.
I think that's what's part of really trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah,
As
Yeah,
an artist,
definitely.
eventually I'm just like, oh my god, let me just go and use my actual name.
yeah,
And then you're back to where you began.
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
going by my real name. But I think the Nick Petro name is good because it allows me to have a connection to my real self, Nick, and Petro, who's the music side.
Mhm.
And you bring those two together and you have like a kind of duality of man type thing.
Mhm.
Where it's
Yeah.
like, there's the person, the like guy talking right now,
Mhm.
and then there's the guy who's the artist,
yeah,
I think that's kind of like why I went with the Nick Petro name.
Mhm.
But then, in 2 months I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna go with a different name,
Yeah.
But I think that's probably gonna be my name, at least
Yeah.
until I become famous enough to make it just Ye, like
Yeah.
Kanye. You know what I mean? Where it's just like
Just
you
like
could do whatever the
PE,
fuck
just
you want,
PE, just pet-
P,
pet.
pet, or whatever. Like
Yeah,
but,
no, I've went through so many name changes.
What was your first name
Yeah.
as an artist?
Who's the first Hadi?
Who's the first Hadi?
I think it was Young Flow, but it was yeah.
Young
but it wasn't even
Flow.
spelled like Yung. It was spelled Yvung. FLOW.
Young-
One of
Yeah,
those ones.
Yeah. And then from there, I was in my buddy's basement, and he's like, "You should just screw around and name yourself Kid Raze." And I'm like,
Kid Raz.
"That's a random name, but that sounds
kind of
sick."
a hard name.
I know, exactly. That's why, like, every time I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to change my name. That's the first name that comes to my head. This is like grade 6, right? And I'm like, yo, Kid Raze is so hard, but I don't know. And then it was like Mind of Hadi for a bit, and then it is kind of just Hadi, like just Hadi all caps.
Right.
And I've kind of been keeping it like that, like just because it looks nice, right? I can like print like I have a mask printed where it just says Hadi in all caps, and I'm like, it slaps. So I'm just gonna keep it like that.
Yeah. It also doesn't have to be anything. It's just a name at the end of the day, and then what matters is what you do with that name.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Oh yeah. Next
That's
time you
hard
change
for
your
me
name.
to say that.
Next time you
It's
change
really
your name, I'm
hard
gonna
to
send you
say.
this clip.
It
time you
just
change
matters
it.
what you do, because there's people who have, freaking weird asterisks and underscores and a bunch of things in their names, but they make the best shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, it doesn't matter what your name is. Sure, it helps, but I have a strong feeling that the usernames thing is gonna get really washed out quick. And within about 10 to 15 years, nobody's gonna give a shit if you have a cool username as a celebrity, because it's just gonna be like everyone just has their own name. They don't use it's just gonna be a metaverse type thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm not trying to like predict the future or anything, but I don't think like your Instagram username or being verified or any of those things is gonna matter soon. It's gonna be like having a pager on your side. I really do think that. I don't think that stuff is gonna be very relevant soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
possibly.
because I think things get phased out. Like you can see Instagram's getting phased out.
Oh, with their update.
I still haven't gotten that update where it looks like TikTok now.
It's ugly, dude.
got
It's
it?
very ugly.
I haven't gotten it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and there was also a Snapchat update. You know how like when you click on stories, it swipes to the side. Now when you click on the story, it swipes down. So it's like almost like TikTok too. Like you're gonna see people's stories go up and down.
TikTok is the most influential platform.
I saw this one thing where it's like, I think it was a TED Talk where someone was like, they keep on changing the features every so often just to keep you engaged. So you like forget how to do something, and you're like, oh,
On
this is the
TikTok.
new way of like in any like social media.
Really? Okay, I think the real one we should be kind of recognizing is Vine.
Oh yeah.
Vine was the whole like platform of scrolling upwards on things. TikTok kind of took that and ran with it after they died out, right?
Yeah.
So really, shout out to Vine for making the most addicting social media.
Yeah, well, Vine
platform.
was the first one that was like kind of like video on your phone, kind of just scrolling 6 seconds, right?
Yeah.
That was the first. So
Just
yeah,
like mindless scrolling, right? That's where- that's
arguably
where it
more
came from.
addicting than TikTok, I'd say. It was like
Well, I
so,
wasn't
like,
on its own.
quick. Oh, you weren't on.
they're on the same par almost. I'd say.
Oh yeah, you
TikTok
got
is-
this before your guys' time.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my god, we're old.
And I get so pissed off because I'm like,
Yeah.
if I was
Vine,
good
yeah.
during like the SoundCloud
Yeah.
days,
Oh yes.
like the SoundCloud community was just unbeat. Like the amount of networking that went on there. If I was good in those days, oh man, it would have been Drake already.
It's not too late. This is the TikTok era. You gotta always
what I'm
look at
saying.
whatever era it
Yeah.
is as the golden era.
You have to adapt.
There is no true era. One day they're gonna be like, oh, I bet if I was in the TikTok era, I
Yeah.
would have been so crazy, like, up there and shit. Doesn't matter what's going on.
Yeah.
You just gotta
Yeah,
leverage what's popping.
Never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
Actually.
that's the marketing side. If you can figure it out, you figure out the rules. It's like a video game, dude. You figure it out, you connect with the right people, you get there.
So was Instagram before Vine, or was Vine? Before
Yeah.
Instagram? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Instagram was just pictures then,
Yeah, Instagram was just
and then
pictures at that
YouTube
point.
was also kind of on the come up. Like it wasn't really
No,
like
YouTube
a
was
big,
before
There was no,
Instagram.
there was no
Before
such thing
that.
as though like oh yeah, people being influencers. Like
No, this
after
was
Vine was
before,
dead, then people hopped on YouTube maybe. Because I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
'cause
think
that's what
like
happened.
Well, Smosh and stuff kind of.
I feel like social media back then it still is an entertainment thing, but now a lot of things are just like marketing. Like, like you see guys on like TikTok being like, hey guys, go subscribe to my YouTube. Like some people don't even make entertainment videos. Like so before on Vine, there wasn't guys like 6 seconds. Like I only have 6 seconds. Go follow my Instagram. Like no, it was just like making funny videos.
They just
Like,
knew
that's
that.
what
Well,
it was.
we were talking about earlier today. Chris D'Elia
I
was
watched
on.
that Raw Talk with Chris D'Elia.
You know
and
Chris
he
D'Elia?
said
He's like a
he said he would
comedian.
do Vines back then, and people thought, like he said that he was one of the first to get 1 million on Vine. And then he was saying that people would recognize him as this guy, the Vine guy, but he was a comedian first. And then so he would start doing Vines on the stage and stuff. To like market that he does like comedy shows and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So he would use that.
He's an innovator in that way.
Right? And that's what you gotta kinda do.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of like tapping into like TikTok, like going like using that as your main like marketing?
I've debated between doing it. I want to start getting into it. I just feel like my brain just can't process enough content for TikTok. I feel like TikTok is really demanding. And even after me saying like, oh, I love making music for the music, you get really bummed out. Like when you drop something and it's like, oh, nobody cares, right? You get bummed out. And I feel like TikTok is like, you have to have a strong heart, right? You got to just keep pushing and keep going no matter what. And I haven't found that yet. But I'm hoping like eventually I'll be able to be like, you know what? Yeah, I can crack out 40 videos a day and whatever, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's like for everyone. TikTok. Like, you know, I wouldn't imagine like J. Cole or whatever, or Kendrick Lamar, very secretive guys, going on TikTok making videos every day. You know, you got to use it to your discretion. Like, you know, like just be on there just to be on there, like, is one thing, or being on there for a purpose is another thing. Yeah, like I think if you were to use it, it would definitely help in some senses, right? Like we were talking earlier on like the long form content, if you can record it and have access to it and chop it up, you know, like John Luca does, he's really good at that. He's amazing at that. And you can use that and post that as individual things. That's, I think, the easiest way to go about it.
That would probably be the way I get it done. Like just like in a studio session, just like clipping whatever looks good and just posting it, right? Something that it's not, because I don't know, I've never really been into that whole like talking to a camera kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like my personality and me just like
I feel that
as an individual, but yeah,
you gotta have the personality.
it's hard to do that.
But if you definitely like, you know, could record you in the studio, you know, singing, rapping, whatever, right? And that could be, you just post a bunch of those. And that's what you do, right? It's not a, There's
almost
all
like
different
mini
ways to do.
music videos.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I think if you do
Things
mini
like that.
music videos, it would kind of do pretty good. Like it's got to be an artistic side to it, where someone's looking at it and they're like, "Oh, wow! Like I just discovered this person.
Yeah.
I want to go check out their music." Not like, "Hey guys, what's up? New song out. Go check it out." Kind of thing. Then it's like, "Shut up! Like I don't want to hear you." You know what I mean? But if you can do it in a way where it's very organic and people like feel like they're discovering something,
And that's why I like for example, like clipping and just putting it out without context, because it's like people are looking at it and they're already developing the story in their head, and like they see one video, they see another video, and they're like, okay, I know that this guy raps, I know that this guy sings, and they're slowly developing an image of you, and like that's the key, right? That's where it comes
what'll
from.
happen. Hopefully after this podcast, we'll clip it up. And then people maybe will have some sort of idea of who you are. Maybe they've never known, you know, you might have one clip that pops off and now you got a whole fan base of people just based on one thing you said.
There you go.
You really never know that.
Yeah.
That's why it's
all you
good, the
need.
podcast. Bring everybody up.
For sure,
Okay, we are back for our little last wrap up here. Hadi, if you have anything else you want to say, little sign off, some stuff you want to promote, upcoming projects, let the people know
Any
right
messages to the people.
Yeah. I mean, I got some songs with Nick coming out soon. Those are gonna go crazy.
Go
Hopefully.
crazy,
They're gonna shake the internet. I don't know. I got the book coming up, so just stay tuned. I'm telling you, I'm just gonna start dropping everything and just see where it goes.
Be
from
ready for the Hadi flood.
there. Oh yeah, it's
Be
coming.
ready, dude.
now.
Ready for the monsoon.
We're ready for it. We're here to support it. for
Thank
sure.
you.
But yeah, this has been a great episode. Thank you again, Hadi, for coming on. It's been awesome.
Yes,
Thank you for
sir.
having me.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of things people can learn from. Just if you're an artist, learn from Hadi some of the things he talked about, or just if you're looking for inspiration, you know, it's a young man right here, focused on a passion, and it's awesome to see these young creatives all lifting each other up and trying to be successful in the future.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
guys, Hadi's stuff will be linked in the description. Make
Yes,
sure you guys
sir.
all go to follow him, go check it out. And for us, we are on Spotify,
Yep.
Apple Podcasts, all that stuff, guys. All the streaming platforms, basically that mainstream main platforms that
We're on
people use.
Podbay.
Yeah, all of them. Download us on there.
Pod
Make sure
Bay.
you're downloading us on Spotify. It helps us out.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the YouTube, follow the TikTok. And hey, we never addressed it, but we got this damn TV set up with the sign going on.
Yeah.
So if you made it to the end of the podcast, let us know how's
I
it looking.
wonder
If you like it.
glares the light.
No, it shouldn't glare on
And
there.
we didn't mention on a couple episodes ago, but we did hit our first 1 million views on TikTok,
Thank
which
you,
is
thank you so much.
pretty cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Aurelio with the hot take. Thank you for that.
I really enjoyed it, yeah.
It's honestly a milestone. We didn't think we'd hit it that quick. We were always saying like I remember when we hit the first 100K, we were like, holy shit. And then like we hit like 300K, we were like, okay. And then remember we were saying like, oh, wait till we hit 1 million, we're gonna pop champagne bottles or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
and then now we hit 1 million,
I
and then
think
it's
we do
like,
that when we
what's
hit
next?
1 million followers.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
And then it's like, what's next? Now 5 million views, 10 million, you know.
Hey, the sky's the limit. Or actually, there is no limit. It
sure,
depends
yeah.
on how far
This
you go.
whole
That was
concept
beautiful,
industry-
Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The
it's,
limit's Jupiter.
It's been awesome, guys. Thank you for
Thank
made
you
it
so
this
much,
far.
Hadi. I think this guy's got a good future ahead of him.
Thank
He's
you.
got a good head on his shoulders, and he's a hard worker. And I really do think good things are coming for Hadi as long as he keeps going. And
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
hell yeah, dude! I'm excited to drop music with you and keep working together. And I think if we keep working with our community, the sky's the limit.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, there's a limit.
There is no limit.
There is no.
That's the title. There is no limit.
Oh yeah. That's
There it
there we
is.
go.
All right.
All right.
All right, Unmastered Bastards. We'll see you next
See
week.
you guys. Thank you, Hadi.